brain tied behind my back just to make it fair. El Rushbo of the EIB Network. Happy to have you with us today, folks. The Limbaugh Institute for Advanced Conservative Studies. You can count on it every day. Our telephone number, if you want to be on the program, is 800-282-2882. The email address, lrushbo@eibnet.com. By the way, it has just been announced that John Burton, he's the guy in California, he's a California Democrat Party leader, who accused Paul Ryan of big lies, like Joseph Goebbels, essentially calling the Republicans Nazis. It has just been announced that John Burton has had to leave the convention to return to California for a pre-scheduled root canal. Kid you not. Now, does anybody believe that this guy scheduled a dental appointment during the Democrat convention? Root canals, my experience with them is that they're sort of like they just pop up. You need it. You don't schedule a root canal for 3 weeks down the road. But that's what they want us to believe. They obviously don't want Burton at the convention. Something else, as is always the case, talk radio show hosts take their shows on the road to the conventions. They were at Tampa, and they are in Charlotte. The word has gone out from the Democrats. They are not to appear, no Democrat, delegate, or official, or celebrity, what have you, is to appear on any conservative talk show. I'm not making that up. It's a blackout. No Democrat is being allowed to appear on a conservative show on Radio Row at the convention. Now, here's a number, another way of looking at it. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? Here's some numbers from 4 years ago compared to today. Unemployment, 7.8% when Obama is immaculated, 8.3% now. The median family income, 4 years ago, $54,983. Today, it's $50,964. Basically, median family income down $4,000. That's not insignificant. Gasoline prices, $1.85 a gallon 4 years ago, $3.78 a gallon. National average now, in some places it's over $4. The national debt, 4 years ago, $10.6 trillion. It's $15.9 trillion today and will surpass $16 trillion during the Democrat convention. So the national debt is up over $5 trillion in 4 years. And that's because Obama has had deficits in excess of $1 trillion every year. Now, here's Obama grading himself. Isn't this rich? The drive-bys ask the president to grade himself. He gives himself an incomplete. I wonder what his college transcripts would show. We've never seen them. I wonder if they're incomplete. Yes, hey, we're talking about grades. Doesn't that kind of open the door to the question? But then, ladies and gentlemen, since when is an incomplete something to brag about? What are we doing here? We're choosing leaders. That's what presidential elections are about. Choosing leaders. This country needs new leadership. This country is absent leadership right now. It hasn't had any real leadership in a while. People want leaders. Most people are not self-starters. Most people like being inspired. That's what leaders do. Obama is not a leader. And I'm going to tell you, an incomplete grade, is this how we choose leaders? $5 trillion spent. Over $5 trillion spent, and his grade is incomplete. We nationalize health care, and his grade is incomplete. We have a $1 trillion stimulus, and his grade is incomplete. We have corporate cronyism all over the place in the so-called green energy sector, led by Solyndra, but there are countless other examples. The grade is incomplete. We have a takeover, a nationalization of General Motors and Chrysler, and then the majority of the company of General Motors given to the United Auto Workers. Incomplete. The president dares talk about one of his achievements is that college tuition is now cheaper? Are you graduates hearing this? Did you know after you have amassed anywhere from $20,000 to $200,000 in student loans that college has gotten cheaper? Obama just said so. We just played the soundbite. And his grade is incomplete. Unemployment, 8.3%, grade incomplete. Median family income off $4,000 in 4 years, grade incomplete. Gasoline price, $1.85 4 years ago, $3.78 now, grade incomplete. $5 trillion in new spending, $1 trillion stimulus. Grade incomplete. This is how we choose our leaders? I don't think so. This president isn't a leader. I mentioned earlier the guy at Forbes magazine, Rich Karlgaard. He's on the Forbes staff. He saw a New York Times piece on Sunday written by Jody Cantor. And so he posted a piece on Forbes. New York Times proves Clint Eastwood correct. Obama is lousy CEO. A New York Times front page story. Might have been yesterday. This is Tuesday. It was yesterday. New York Times story was yesterday. New York Times front, take it back. It was Sunday because the date of Karlgaard story is yesterday. So he's talking about Sunday. New York Times front page story might have killed Obama's re-election hopes. The story is called The Competitor-in-Chief. Obama plays to win in politics and everything else, and it is devastating. With such a title and from such a friendly organ, at first I thought that Jody Cantor's piece would be a collection of Obama's greatest political wins. His rapid rise in Illinois, his win over Hillary, passage of health care and all that, but the New York Times piece is not about any of that. Instead, it's a deep look into the two outstanding flaws in Obama's executive leadership. Number one, how he vastly overrates his capabilities. And here's a pull quote from the New York Times story. Even those loyal to Mr. Obama say that his quest for excellence can bleed into cockiness and that he tends to overestimate his capabilities. The cloistered nature of the White House amplifies those tendencies, said Matthew Dowd, a former advisor to Bush, adding the same thing happened to his former boss. There's a reinforcing quality, a tendency for presidents to think I'm the best at this. And number two, how he spends extraordinary amounts of time and energy to compete in trivialities. And again, from the New York Times piece, for someone dealing with the world's weightiest matters, Obama spends surprising energy perfecting even less consequential pursuits. He's played golf 104 times since becoming president. He asks superior players for tips. He decompresses with card games on Air Force One, but players who don't concentrate risk a reprimand. His idea of birthday relaxation is competing in an Olympic-style athletic tournament with friends, keeping close score. The 2009 version ended with a bowling event. Guess who won? Despite his history of embarrassingly low scores, The president, turned out, had been practicing in the White House alley. The story goes on to quote from the New York Times about how Obama is devoted to inconsequential things. Highly competitive in all kinds of inconsequential things. And runs around telling nobody. In fact, there's a quote in the story that 2 weeks into the presidency, he's telling people that he's really good at it. 2 weeks into office, he was running around telling people how much he likes being president and how good at it he is. So Rich Karlgaard here, I guess, is theorizing that the people that read the New York Times are Obama voters. I mean, they are in the tank for Obama, and they're going to read this, and they're going to see that Obama's devoted to all these trivialities and inconsequential things and not spending any time whatsoever on things that truly affect the country. While everybody thinks he's got his sleeves rolled up and is working hard on this stuff, this story in the New York Times actually does convey the impression he doesn't care much. And my friends, this is why I have feared that many of Obama's policies are oriented purposely for the outcome that we've got. He started the ball rolling. Unemployment getting worse, family income dropping, spending up. He started that ball rolling. All he's got to do is get out of the way. Healthcare reform is massive government expansion, massive government spending, massive tax increases that we haven't even seen yet. If that isn't repealed, he doesn't have to do much else to be totally destructive of the foundations of this country as founded. Incomplete. Breitbart even has a story. Ezra Dulles on this New York Times story. Democrats air their frustrations with Obama's cockiness. The New York Times' Jody Cantor airs complaints from loyal Obama associates. He has mentioned more than once in recent weeks that he cooks a really mean chili. He has impressive musical pitch, he told an Iowa audience. He's a surprisingly good pool player, he told an interviewer, not to mention that he's a doodler of unusual skill. These are the things he's telling people in the White House, and they told Jody Cantor at the New York Times. He's bragging about how good he is at all of these trivial things. The article reports Obama's associates in the White House characterizing this bluster and political zeal as cockiness. Washington Democrats in this story say he's all too eager to offer unsolicited advice on how to shake hands, on how to write, on how to parent. Well, that follows, doesn't it? Mr. and Mrs. Nanny thinking nobody knows how to do anything. Obama reportedly dedicates considerable time to practice, no matter how trivial the pastime. It talks about the golf and the card playing and the bowling. And that Obama even rates and ranks others around him, always elevating himself to the position of superiority. And this is how the Breitbart piece ends. Despite a strong push to negatively define Mitt Romney, Obama finds himself neck and neck with Romney 2 months before the election, and even falling behind in some polls. As the election draws nearer, Obama will need to rely heavily on his personal likability to draw independent voters. The New York Times and allied Democrats airing these grievances is a serious problem for somebody who needs to rely on likability, because, as the story points out, he's not all that likable. You've got his own so-called associates in the White House talking about how irritated they are at the way Obama conducts himself inside the White House in this hyper-competitiveness in trivial things. Rubs people the wrong way. Not likable, not cool, but rather kind of chilly, kind of cold.